The story of Joshua Minton still tugs at heartstrings. It's also the case that thrusts the Department of Human Services under the microscope. May 17, 2007, daycare owner Vicki Childs taped Joshua's mouth and hands to keep him quiet during nap time, leading to his death. A month earlier, DHS workers say that Childs abused another child, but DHS workers did not show up to shut Childs' daycare down for that violation for a month. They showed up the very day Joshua was found, arriving just before the paramedics. Childs is now serving life in prison. DHS has been undergoing significant reform.
It's unacceptable that any child in our state should lose their life because of abuse or neglect.
Raise your right hand.
Oklahoma now has new leadership. Newly sworn-in Governor Mary Fallin comes to office with a lot of DHS knowledge. Her mother worked for the department for years, and DHS is definitely on her radar.
Department of Human Services will receive a lot of attention from me and my administration. We're going to do everything we can to protect children.
Really just trying to keep the volume of services out there with a decreasing amount of money, already having reduced our workforce while we have record levels of demand for service.
Howard Hendrick has been the director of DHS for 12 years. He admits the last few years have been extremely difficult. He says the down economy and budget cuts have stressed the system. DHS is facing a major class action lawsuit. A group called Children's Rights is suing DHS, claiming that the foster care system is broken. And then there was a state audit showing that Oklahoma removes twice as many kids as the national average. And then there have been those cases involving children, cases such as Joshua Minton and Maggie Mae Trammell up in Bartlesville, which some say expose flaws in the system. In the case of Maggie Mae, DHS had been called to that home 6 times in the year and a half before the child's death. Maggie Mae's mother, Lindsay Fiddler, is accused of child neglect after her daughter, 10-day-old Maggie Mae, was found dead in a washing machine. DHS workers noted alleged drug use in the home, but never recommended removing children from the home. In the first interview with Channel 2 talking about these issues, Director Hendrick says cases involving children are complicated, and oftentimes, he says, it comes down to a judgment call.
The reality in terms of making those calls, nobody's going to be perfect 100% on that anyway. I'm not sure you could have predicted that one.
It's clear to me, if I'd had the information that they had, it would have been an easy call for me to remove that child from the home, or all 3 children from the home.
But State Representative Ron Peters is not buying it. He's been critical of DHS in the past, pushing reform, and he says when there are drugs in a home, specifically methamphetamine, DHS workers should remove kids.
I think in this case, clearly, both of those were there. So the worker at that point had no choice but to either put a very strict safety plan in place or remove the kids. I think in this case, removal should have been the option.
From the governor to lawmakers to DHS itself, everyone involved is looking for answers, and they have a common goal: making DHS better. You try to look at these cases and learn from them?
Absolutely. Yeah, we do all the cases that have any kind of significant adverse effect. We look at those. We also celebrate our successes too. I think sometimes we only focus on these cases over here and we forget about almost 1,700 children were adopted last year out of Oklahoma as foster care system.